Welcome to Unit 2 Relevancy Check. Why do we check for relevancy? Some websites are not current and the information is outdated or no longer correct. Some websites have wrong information, are written for a specific audience, or are too technical to be useful. Some websites look good, but don't really have the information to support your thesis. So let's look at the clues and figure out how to tell if a website is relevant. First, let's take a look at the timeliness of a website. We need to find the date the website was created and when it was last updated. Then we need to check the age of the data being used. For example, look at the following sections from a CDC website on marriage statistics. If we look at the bottom of the page, we can see that the page was last updated June 30th, 2009. That was also when the page was published to the web. If we look at the middle section, we can see that the data actually comes from 2002. Okay, now take a look at the following sections from another website on marriage statistics put together by the Pew Foundation. If we look at the bottom of the page, we can see that the copyright is 2012. So basically it was updated fairly recently. This particular page was published to the web on December 14th, 2011. And then if you look in the middle, you can see that a lot of the statistics and information that they are using are from 2009, 2010. So, which site do you think is more relevant? If you said the second website, you're correct. After checking the timeliness of a website, we need to determine if it is relevant to our topic. Who is the intended audience? How in-depth is the information? Is the information too simplistic or too technical? Okay, now we'll compare some more websites. Here is another website from the CDC. This one is talking about flu tests. If you look at the part that's circled in red, you can read that the audience for this website is really medical personnel, clinicians. That means doctors or nurses. If you read the content of this website, rapid influenza diagnostic tests are immunoassays that can identify the presence of influenza A and B viral nucleoprotein antigens in respiratory specimens. Okay, and if you keep reading on, you'll see that this content is full of medical terms and probably very unfamiliar words. The audience for this site is definitely a very medical and technical group of people. Now let's take a look at this website, Lab Tests Online. Again, this site is talking about flu tests, but you can see a big difference. If you look at the top of the page, you can see that this website is intended for just basically a public group, the general population. It says a public resource on clinical lab testing from the laboratory professionals who do the testing. It's written by professionals for lay people. If you look at the bottom of the page and read some of the content, you can see that the words they use, the vocabulary is just very normal, everyday vocabulary, easy to understand, but still helpful. So were you able to figure out which one was more relevant to our topic? Let's review. Who is the intended audience? Okay, in the first website we looked at from the CDC, the audience was intended for medical personnel. In the second group, it was just the general population. How in-depth is the information? Well, the first website, the information was very in-depth. In fact, it was so in-depth it had a lot of unfamiliar terms, very specific medical terms. In the second one, the information was just a more general and basic good information. Okay, is the information too simplistic or too technical? Well, in the first one, the information was definitely very technical. You had to be a medical professional to really understand some of it. In the second one, the information was, again, designed for the general public. So you are correct if you said that the second website is more relevant. Finally, let's take a look at our last point. Some websites look good, but don't really have the information to support your thesis. Let's take a look at this site. Who is it designed for and what is it trying to do? Okay, here we go. If we look at the part that's circled, we see actually this site is designed for people who want to get flu shots. And the site is designed to get people in the door for flu shots. And if you read at the bottom, basically, it tells you that flu is a horrible disease that can send you to the hospital and cause death. So basically, if you don't get your flu shot, you should be worried. So again, this information is not really relevant to your report on flu shots or flu tests or flu in general. This is just designed for one specific purpose. So let's review. What clues do we look for when we check for relevancy? Look for the date published, the date last updated, and the timeliness of the data. Look for who the target audience is, if the information actually relates to your topic, and if the material is too technical or too simplistic. Finally, look at the material presented and see if it is information that actually supports your research topic. Thank you.